welcome back to the OC Tanner YouTube channel where we help people thrive at work. We're here with another Leancast, and we're so excited with the crew that we have today. I'm here with this illustrious crew. We've got Max. Max has been here. He's been a group leader for 8 months now. He's been here with us since January. Crystal actually hit 25 years today.
That's right.
Of all days. Very lucky for us to have you. And then we've got Vincent here, who's been here 8 years. So we've got a good range of group leaders that have been here with us, and really some amazing expertise that we're excited to extract from you and share with our listeners. All right, so just to dive right in, we're going to be talking a little bit about improvements and how we really encourage team members to be out on the line making their own improvements, and really connecting with the purpose of the greater company in doing so. So any one of you can answer. How do you encourage your team to make improvements in their work or in their area?
Well, I can go ahead and start. A lot of the things that we encourage is to find the things that bug you. Anything that stops you from doing any of your job, any abnormalities that we have or that occur in the team, and we start from there and do improvement cards or try to make improvements that way.
Awesome.
Yeah, and just going along with that, I think if you portray the picture of, this isn't extra work, but it's actually going to make your life easier, then it motivates people to actually want to come up with those improvements. Because sometimes it can just be like, oh, I have to do another thing here at work. But you're saying, no, we're going to do whatever you want to do to have it be more enjoyable for you at work. And then they're like, oh, okay, well I want to do this.
Right.
And you're like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, for me, I think the word encouraging to me mean creating an environment that people would like to do that, would like to participate in creating improvement. And I guess we have to help them understand that improvement create value for customers.
I like that.
Yeah. So and part of creating that environment will require you to be to have a certain type of belief. Beliefs such as that people have intrinsic value, untapped potential, and they have their own creativity that you may not think of. So allow that behavior to prosper within the environment is important. That's just what I would like to add to
Yeah, no, all really valuable information. I think OC Tanner has a very unique improvement plan in place that we actually require our team members or ask them to do at least one a month. And I think it's always surprising to people that come through OC Tanner how easy that is to get them to do that once they're placed in the right environment, right? So tell me maybe about a success story, about an improvement that a team member made, and how your dedication as a leader to their engagement played a role.
Want me to start?
Yeah, do it.
Vincent's got it.
I guess we'll do Crystal, Max, and then we do a reverse. So I'll start with this example. So this was my first experience with a team member who've been struggling to really find an improvement to help out the team, right? So during coaching, she was frustrated because I know I need to be making improvement, but at the same time, I can't find anything that I want to improve on. And just like what Crystal said earlier, find what bugs you, right? So I couldn't really think of anything either because I was new to the team. So I said, let's walk the line. I'm sure we can find something. So we walked the line, and then we got to the, so this is in Turquoise, and Turquoise at the time was in the basement. And there is this board where there's a computer and they enter their result. The area was messy, so I asked her name is Kimbers. I said, Kimber, is there anything here that's bugging you? It's like it's bugging me right now, but I want to see if we could do this together. And she said, yeah, I could see this area is very messy. I was like, okay, we just launched this 5S certification. What did you learn about it? How could you apply 5S to this area? So she was like, okay, I'm going to try something, but I'm going to need some help. I was like, okay, I'll help you. And and so she got everything's organized, and then when she's finished with it, she said, well, would you approve this? And I said, well, I don't want to approve anything, but I do want you to share with your team member and see if that somehow works for your team member too. So, and she did. So she did that, and we implemented that. And the next day, I went to my leader at the time was Shane. I said, I think you got to look at this, because she seems very excited. I do want to kind of add a little more juice to her excitement and help her feel like she's successful at implementing this improvement. So Shane came, and those of you who know Shane knows how, he can make things very exciting. So he came, he talked to Kimber, and I could tell that she was lit up. And from that day on out, like every time there's certain thing that bugs her, she just want to make it better. So that was my first experience of doing this. So yeah, first year, probably first 6 months. So
I love that. I think that it's so key that you pushed her beyond just what, organization is organization. But if you're finding a way to sustain that as part of a 5S system, that is total improvement, right?
Yeah.
That is going to affect the team member after you. And I love that key has to be part of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, I had some similar experience with a new hire on our second shift team. She was going through the foundation's contribution exercises, and STEPS was the project that she was working on next. And it was one of those, what bugs you, and she just could not figure out what she wanted to work on until she went and learned our direct print process. And as she was doing it, she was realizing that when we have to put a direct print on a crystal piece, but then having to get something attached from aluminum, how does that impact the flow of the team? And one thing that she realized was if we had glass or a mirrored bottom on the crystal pieces, it would make it a lot easier for us to attach to the aluminum part without having to do 2 other steps to include it.
Wow.
And she reached out to the purchaser. She reached out to Cloud to see if this would be something possible that our Chinese vendors could add a mirrored bottom to it. And they were able to. And now all of our inventory that comes in like that comes in with a mirrored bottom, and it has cut out 2 steps. And it was a huge cost savings. But I just loved how she didn't just push it for our team, but she went beyond that to talk to Cloud. And she asked, of course, like, how can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, I can talk to Cloud. She's like, no, let me take care of it. I want to own this whole thing. And just to see her blossom that way was just amazing. And that's one of the greatest parts of improvements that we have, is just to see, like Vincent said, them blossom and just be so excited now for the possibilities and what they can contribute to our teams. And it was a great success that we had on our team.
That's a cool improvement.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you were there to support, because
Yeah.
she would have not known who to gone to address that. And I mean, there's just ways that all of those pieces have to fall into place.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, I think our team members do come to us as their leaders to take the ball and continue to run, so that they don't really get that full experience of taking it final to the end, because a lot of the times they're not sure of what to do. And they're like, oh, my leader will just take care of it for me. Mm-hmm. But to see her initiative was amazing, that she wanted to do that. And it just makes you feel so proud of their accomplishments.
No, I love that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think a success for me is just whenever a team member just takes the initiative upon themselves to come up with the improvement. And something I always tell my team members is, finishing the improvement isn't as important as coming up with the improvement. If you experiment and you fail, that's much better than not even trying, because we're trying to create a culture of improvement here at OC Tanner. So I really like it when people are spending time tinkering with their layout or like experimenting. That just shows me, these people actually care about the workplace. They care about their jobs here. They're wanting to make it better. If you worked at a place that you didn't like, you wouldn't care about making improvements. Even if you were miserable, you would be like, well, I don't care about improving this place because this job doesn't mean that much to me. So I just like to see people trying new things. That's a success for me.
I love that. I really think you guys have already touched on it, but you talked about generating ideas, right? You're tinkering with the layout or walking the line. What else do you do to help the team generate ideas? Because they walk in thinking they know nothing about a process. How in the world are they going to improve it? And we know, and we've seen it time after time, that they always find something to improve, right? But how do you guys go about encouraging them or helping them find those ideas?
I've found like giving the full data that drives certain things. It helps them to decide what to really focus on. So if we're working on a strategy deployment catch-ball session with our teams, and we could go any possible direction with like working on quality or delivery or whatever we need to work on, getting that data for them to make that decision really has helped my teams to figure out what is the best direction for us to go in and then how to improve it. I mean, they do still have a lot of questions like, how do we start this and how do we go about it? But being there to throw out some ideas and then them being able to run with one of those ideas and just kind of get that thought process going has helped for us.
I like that.
Yeah, I think another great starting point for improvements is the 8 wastes, and just another lean manufacturing principle that we have here at OC Tanner. So that's what I always say is like, well, think of the 8 wastes. Can we find any of those wastes here in the line? And of course, it's always yes, because no line is 100% efficient unless you're in acrylic. But there's always waste. So it's like, are you waiting ever? Is there ever a waste of motion? Is there any waste of over processing? So helping people think more specifically like that usually helps them to generate ideas for coming up with improvements.
I like that.
Yeah, if I could add, I think it's great we have all these tools and things like that, but if there are going to be time where I'm just thinking of the scenario where, man, like we've done so much, like what else could we do? And sometimes standing still, doing an Ono circle. I mean, there are a lot of teams that use that as their lead measurement for their strategy deployment. And sometimes just standing still in one place and observe how others are doing their work could help generate these ideas. Because you obviously will see waste as you're standing in a circle and observing things. Like in acrylic, for example, we're currently working on a strategy deployment where we ask our team member to step out of the line and audit another team member just to see whether there is some opportunity that we can help each other out. Doing that could also help generate some idea. And also it helping them connect to the purpose of that we have of helping people thrive at works and looking at the Shingo model as creating value for customers and just what other value can we add and what other ways can we eliminate and things like that. So it's just helping people kind of really think a little deeper once you get to that point where, man, I can't think of anything else. So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How do you find yourself be able to get these team members dedicated to the improvements, right? A lot of that comes back to, the environment that they're in, but what have you really found that helps them be willing to be vulnerable? And like Max said, sometimes they really try something and it's a really terrible idea, but at least they experimented with it. How do you provide that kind of an area where they feel comfortable making improvements and trying them and failing them?
I think sometimes you just have to let them fail and be okay with it and try to say, okay, that didn't work. What's the next idea? What's the next best thing that you can do? Because sometimes they fail and then they're like, okay, I'm done. And so encouraging them to try again, get back on the wall, make sure that, it's okay to fail and move past it because it's not really a failure. It's just just an experiment that they're doing. We talk about how the light bulb, how many times that failed before we finally got it right. And I think sometimes with that encouragement to our team is like, it's okay. Let's just move past it and see what we can do next. And then usually they do it.
Right. Almost framing it as an experiment, not as an improvement. Being
Right.
like, look, we're going to try to improve this
Right.
process. If it fails, so be it. At least we learned something.
Yep.
And being able to learn from that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, you reward the effort, not the result.
Right.
Ooh, I like that.
The behavior, right? It's the behavior. You want to see the behavior of not giving up. You want to see the behavior of trying new things. You recognize those behavior rather than discipline the negative result.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So another question for you guys: If in your time at OC Tanner, who have you looked to? What have you gained from other group leaders or other, maybe even directors that have been in your position before? Who has acted as a mentor to you, and how have they been that to you so that you could provide the best support and encourage your team to make these improvements?
You can always say anything about anybody here, really, because I look at my peers for all situations that we encounter. There's some peers that are stronger in some points that I might be weaker in, so I know to go and talk to those guys and get some advice and really lean on them, and then I'll know, hey, this person actually does the same thing that I do, but what other things can I get from them? It's more of that meet to give and collaborate that I look for in my peer group, and I kind of really look to them as mentors as well. And I've had a lot of mentors here in my 25 years, and it's been nice to learn and grow and develop from each of them. And I know one thing that I was talking to Tyson the other day about is just how much I've learned from him in the last couple of years that I've been working in custom. Just the little things is how to communicate better, how do you address issues better, how to go about things totally different than I would, and just learning from what he can bring and just trying to soak up all the information and all the knowledge that all of us can give to each other.
I love that. What about you guys? What have you learned about in mentoring and about encouraging your team members through mentorship and through other directors or group leaders here?
Yeah, I agree with Crystal as far as relying on your peer, whether it's your even your direct leaders, everybody that you are somehow affiliated with or connected with can help you, can help inspire you in some way. I can think even like my first managers, back at my first job out of college. I can think of Tyson, my direct leader now, or Gary every time he speaks. Even our organizational leader like Mindy Cox or Dave Peterson's. They're all very inspiring. But I was thinking about this question, and I thought, all of us kind of learn from somebody from somewhere. And I think for me, whenever I'm questioning my leaderships, whether I'm doing something right or wrong, I usually go back to a few quotes that Obert has in his biography. I'm not good at remembering word. I can't like say it in verbatim, but I can. I'll give the quote later if you want to post it up. But it is talking about how, like, don't get drowned in powers, right? Like you have to have that humility, the power, the authority that's given to you. Just don't get drowned in it. There are other people that are helping you being successful. So make sure you do the right things all the time. So
Love that.
Well, Vincent has actually been my designated mentor. He's been doing a really good job. As I finished my onboarding, I had weekly meetings with Vincent to just answer all my questions that I've had. And something I really admire about Vincent here is it seems like there's no problem that he can't solve or hasn't already experienced. So it's been very helpful to me as I've had to call him over many times, just saying, I don't know what to do here. And Vincent always has an answer. And he's not prideful about it in any way. Sometimes he'll say, oh, I don't know exactly how to figure this out, but we should talk to this person. He always has a way forward, which is something I really admire. And I also remember when I was doing my onboarding, part of it was meeting with almost every group leader to get some advice, talk about maybe a system that they own so I could learn more about it. And I remember at the conclusion of every single one of those meetings, the group leader would always say, now, if you need any help, feel free to ask me and I will help. And that was just such an encouraging thing as a new group leader at the time, where I'm like, wow, I have so many people who I can help, get help from here at this company. And that's not something that you see at other companies. I've definitely noticed that as whenever you ask someone here for help, it immediately becomes like their first priority is they're dropping what they're doing and they're helping you, which I really, really admire about this company and the people who work here.
I love that. I would ditto that. I agree. I've loved it as well. So to end with a question here, how do you guys continue to grow and develop these skills amongst your team members? Obviously, these are growing, living skills that people are constantly working on. But what's next for you guys? What do you see being next, and how are you going to continue to grow and develop these skills within you and within your teams of improvement and challenging the status quo?
Well, I know what I'm going to say.
Go
So. So one thing that I like to do in my strategy deployment is to do something different each time for a lead measurement. We do Ono circles, and then we move on to Yokoten opportunities where everybody goes out and finds a different team that they can go and learn from. I had a team member who went to the refinery just because she's like, I've no idea what we do there, and she learned from that. And this last couple of strategies that we are working on now is how do we combine our day and night shift teams to work together and collaborate. So we have 4 separate groups that work on STEPS projects the whole entire time. And that helps them grow and develop in different ways of just not doing improvement cards, but they're learning and developing just how to have an improvement mindset. And then going now into a new area with a new team, I get to challenge that once again. And the change that we are allowed to get by going and experiencing other areas, that helps us grow. And then it helps us to continue to help grow other people at the same time.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
So for me, I've been fortunate to always have mostly have growing team and growing team in new team members getting on board constantly. So it give me this opportunity to just always being able to develop. So with that kind of environment, I think it's very important that I stick to the fundamental. I stick to the boring stuff, and just making sure that I help people that are coming in understand the purpose, connecting to the purpose. And we've been very fortunate to have a very simple but very great purpose of helping people thrive at work. And if my new team member can connect with that, can understand that, the rest is really easy. Yeah, we could teach the skill, we could teach the lean knowledge, we could teach all the other stuff. So for me, it's just making sure that I stay true to the fundamental and develop that mindset, and helping them get bigger heart, I think. So.
I love that.
Yeah, this is a good question because I think this is one of the biggest struggles I had as a new group leader, which was coaching and mentoring team members who had been here 20 plus years. And I remember those first few coaching sessions, I just sat down. I was like, I have no idea what I can teach you.
More than I do right now.
And I'm like, I don't know what I can teach you. You've been doing this for 20 years. You probably had over 200 coaching sessions. So how can I help you and say anything more that's different? And some great advice that I got from my director, Adam, was he said, we'll give them the opportunity to teach other people as well and give them a task. And I found that as a great tool to help these people and help the team in general continue to grow by saying, you may have been here 20 years, but there's other people who have only been here 20 days. So it's your responsibility to teach them, to teach the new team members, and teach myself as well. I really relied on those team members my first 3 months because I said, just honestly, a lot more than me about this, so I want you to help me. And that created a environment of inclusion and continuous improvement.
I love that. Thanks, you guys. This has been absolutely wonderful. I'm really, really impressed by the amount of improvements that continue to take place at OC Tanner. We talk about low-hanging fruit, and sometimes tours walk through and ask, once you get on the low-hanging fruit, what's next? And we just say the low-hanging fruit just keeps growing, right? We keep finding things to improve on, and I think we always will. It's very impressive the work that OC Tanner can accomplish and the cost savings that we accomplish every period. As we put these teams and these skills to the test, it's really immaculate what we can accomplish when we are all doing our improvements in these tiny pieces in our areas, that they all come in one big conglomerate and just make impressive results. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for the role that you play in that. Thank you for being a mentor and a coach to other group leaders who are still trying to figure it out. And thank you for all of your wonderful help and amazing things that you guys do with your team.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amberly.
Thanks for being with us. We're grateful to have you.
Yeah.
We're so grateful that Crystal, Vincent, and Max could join us today. If you guys want to learn more, we are always putting out new content and new videos. So if you want to join our YouTube channel, go on OC Tanner Factory Floor. And you can also listen to more Leancasts that we've done previously. So come join us.